Alright, so we're going to look at substitution. Okay, so substitution is about replacing something with something else. It's simple as that. So replacing something with something else. So let's look at an example. So if we've got a equals 2 and b equals 5, we generally ask a question such as find 2a, or what we want to do there is simplify 2a by replacing the a value there with the 2. So let's put the 2 in there. Now what we need to recognise is that 2a means 2 times a, which means we've got 2 times 2, which is 4. Okay, another example. Let's look at negative 3b. Now negative 3b, that means negative 3 times b. Now we want to replace that b with the value we're being told to. So b equals 5 there. So we've got negative 3 multiplied by 5, which gives us our negative 15. And there's our answer there. Alright, let's look at another example. Let's look at 4ab. Now remember, 4ab means 4 times a times b. So again, let's go and replace these letters here. We've got a replaced with 2. We've got b there, and that's going to be replaced with the 5. And then we simply use our multiplication laws there. 4 times 2 is 8, and then 8 times 5 will give us our 40, and there's our answer. Okay, another example. Things start to get a little bit harder. Let's start looking at 3a plus 2b. Now that means 3 times a plus 2 times b. Now replace the a there with the 2, and that gives us 3 times 2, plus we want 2 times 5, so replace the b there with a 5. And again, 2b is 2 times, so we got 3 times 2 is 6, plus 2 times 5 is 10, that gives us 16. And there's our answer. Alright, our next example. Negative 5a plus b, all divided by a. So here we want to replace our letters. So let's start with a. We want to replace a with 2. Let's put 2 there, and 2 as our denominator. Now let's replace b. We get a 5 there. Now what we do is let's start to work this out. Negative 5 times 2. Then we've got plus 5 on the end there, all divided by 2. Now negative 5 times 2 is negative 10. We add the 5 and divide by 2. Negative 10 plus 5 is negative 5, all over 2. And there's our final answer. We can leave that as negative 5 over 2, or we can change that to negative 2.5. Here's another example. A squared plus 2b. Again, we've got to have that algebra background. So remembering that a squared is a times a. Now replace the a with a 2. And 2 squared, we replace the b with 5. We're going to have 2 squared, which is 2 times 2, plus 2 times 5 there. There we have 4 plus 10 gives us 14. Okay, now let's say we want to have different letters there, because sometimes it's not just a and b. Let's look at maybe x and y, where x equals negative 4 and y is equal to 2. Now we want to use substitution. We start getting harder because we have negatives here. So again, let's replace the x there with the negative 4. So let's remove that with negative 4 and replace the y there with the 2. So we replace that with something new. Now we've got negative times negative is a positive, and so we've got positive 8. Minus 3 times 2 is 6, and 8 takes 6 is 2. And there's our example. Alright, we've got to be careful here with the negatives. Alright, now what happens if we have more than 2 letters? Let's say e equals 1, f equals 2, and g is equal to negative 10. So sometimes we can get as many letters as we want. So let's look at this example. E plus 2f minus g. Replace e with 1. We're going to replace the f there with 2. And we're going to replace the g there with negative 10. So again, got to be careful with our negatives here. We've got to be good with our directed number. That's adding and subtracting numbers. So we got 1 plus 4. 2 times 2 is 4. Minus and a minus. Now remember, subtracting away a negative becomes that positive. So we have 1 plus 4 plus 10, which gives us 15. Let's look at another example here. 3, bracket, x, subtract away y. So again, we want to replace the x there. Now our x there is negative 4, so let's replace that with negative 4. We replace the y with 2. Let's put our 2 there. And let's rewrite that out. So we've got 3 bracket negative 4, take 2. Now, we want to do our brackets first using BIMDAS. So negative 4 take 2 is negative 6. And then 3 times negative 6, that's going to give us negative 18.